Let's start off with addition. Addition is used in everyday life all the time, and I think it's the most simplest thing to learn. So let's take the time now to teach you how to add from left to right. It's actually opposite of the way you were taught in school. All right, I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Let's start out with 14 plus 15. Now, the basic way that you learn how to add, you always start on the right and you add them up, and then you go over here and you add them up, and you're surprised you get an answer. I'm going to show you how to go left to right, backwards, and it eliminates carrying, and you'll see how that works in a minute. But first off, let's start right here. This 1 right there is in the tens column, so that stands for 10. And this is also in the tens column, so that stands for 10. So what I do is I start adding left to right, going down the columns this way. So what's 10 plus 10? The answer is 20. And then you just go up here to the first number in the next column. So 20 plus 4 would give you 24, plus 5 would give you an answer of 29. And simply enough, that's the answer, 29. All you have to do is read it left to right and keep a running total. It's called a base number. Let's try another one. How about 23 plus 13? Now the first thing we do is we start on the left. Now this is in the tens column, this 2. So that means 2 tens or 20. And then down here, this 1 stands for 10. So what's 20 plus 10? 20 plus 10 is 30. And then you go to the next column. 30 plus 3 would give you 33, plus 3 more would give you 36, and that's the answer. Let's try one more. How about 42 plus 25? Now, a little bit bigger. First thing we do is we come up here to the top left corner. There's a 4 there. Stands for 4 tens or 40. This 2 stands for 2 tens or 20. So let's add those together first. What's 40 plus 20? The answer is 60. And now we just go to the next column. 60 plus 2 is 62, plus 5 is 67. And that's the answer. So you can see how it works. All you do is you start on the left, going to the right, keeping a running total out loud, sort of, in your head. All right? So let's try some more numbers. But this time, I'm going to show you how to carry. When you carry numbers, it really doesn't matter how you do it, because there's no such thing as carrying when you go left to right. Let me give you an example. 24 plus 17. Now, we start on the left again. Let's go here. This 2 stands for 20. This is 10. So what's 20 plus 10? 30. And then we come up here to this column. What's 30 plus 4? 34 plus 7. So now some of you use your fingers, some of you might break it down to 6 and 1, but 34 plus 7 equals 41. So the answer is 41. No carrying. You just go from the 30s to the 40s just by adding to your base number. Let's try another one. How about 28 plus 14? Starting on the left, this is 20, this is 10. What's 20 plus 10? The answer is 30. And then we go up to the next column. What's 30 plus 8? The answer is 38 plus 4 more. 38 plus 4, what's that? You should get 42. So the answer is 42. As you can see, you don't carry. You just keep adding to that base number. It just takes a little bit of practice, so I want to give you one more example before we get into even bigger numbers. How about 39 plus 13? Starting on the left, 30 plus 10 would give you 40. And then up to the next column, what's 40 plus 9? 49. And then we add the 3. What's 49 plus 3? You should get 52. So as you can see, you never carry, you always know what the answer is going to be about right away because you're working with the most significant numbers first, the tens instead of the ones. And what really is the biggest advantage to learning how to add left to right is the fact that you're understanding how tens and ones work together and how they add together without carrying. So I'd like to give you one more example, but this time let's try a bunch of two-digit numbers and add them up in a column-like form. For example, 24, 15, 31, and 17. A lot of numbers. We're going to go left to right down the columns, okay? So this 2 right here stands for what? That stands for 20. This 1 stands for 10. So what's 20 plus 10? You should get 30. And then we add the next number, which is 3 or 30 more. What's 30 plus 30? You should get 60. And then the next number is a 10. So what's 60 plus 10? You should get 70. And now we come up to the next column. What's 70 plus 4? 74. Add 5 more. What do you get? 79. Add 1 more. 79 plus 1, which give you 80. And then 7 more is 87. So the answer to 24 plus 15 plus 31 plus 17 is 87. And all you did was keep a running total in your head, left to right, and you never have to carry. It totally eliminates carrying. So what I want you to do now is go into your workbook, and you'll see a whole list of examples, and I want you to practice this technique, this left to right addition with two-digit numbers. Make sure that you understand how to go down the columns left to right, and you understand that there's no carrying, and work on practicing keeping your base number and continually adding to that to get to the answer. Good luck. All right, you just finished two-digit addition in the workbook, and hopefully you understood it very well, and you can just fly through those now. If you're still having a little bit of trouble with it, or it's just not making sense to you, practice a little bit more, go back into the workbook, read through it again, and try the exercises one more time, just to make sure you're really sure that you understand it. But if you already have done that and you really feel confident, let's move on to three-digit addition. A little bit tougher, but it's not really once you get into it. I'm going to show you some shortcuts, how to group a little bit, make it a lot easier. So let's start out with an easy example. How about 243 plus 125? Now, same concept. We're going to go left to right, except this time, instead of starting at the tens column, there's another column out here. That's called the hundreds column. When there's 3 digits, you have the hundreds, tens, ones. So we're going to go all the way out to the left. This is the hundreds. That 2 right there just stands for 200. And underneath it is a 1, which stands for 100. So now add those up. What's 200 plus 100? You should get 300. And then we go up to the next column. This is the tens column. So that 4 just means 40. So what's 300 plus 40? The answer is 340. And then we add 20 more. And you should get 340 plus 20 is 360. And then we just go to the next column. What's 360 plus 3? The answer is 363. And then 5 more, because these are the ones column. So what's 363 plus 5? You should get 368. And that's the right answer. So you see how easy it is. It's the same concept as two-digit addition. Just remember, when there's 3 digits, you're working with the hundreds first, then the tens, and then the ones. Let's give it another shot. I'm going to give you a little bit harder. Let's do a 256 plus 213. Now, same idea, left to right, but you're starting with the hundreds, remember. So what's 200 plus 200? That should be 400. And now you move up to the next column. What's 400 plus 50? 450. And then add 10 more. You'll get 460. And then you just go to the next column. What's 460 plus 6? 466. And then add 3 more. 469 is the correct answer. That's what you should get. Now, you might be noticing now that it's hard for you to remember the base number as you're going through the examples. Here's what you do. You're always saying it to yourself to keep remembering it. That's all I do is I'm going 200, 400, 450, 460, 466, 469. Always say the whole number every time. Just don't go 400, okay, that's 50, 60, 60. That's going to mess you up and you're going to forget what you had over here. All right, so let's try another one. How about 352 plus 145? Left to right, starting with the hundreds, 300 plus 100 gives you 400, plus 50, 400 plus 50 should give you 450. Add 40 more. What's 450 plus 40? 490. And then just go up to the ones column. What's 490 plus 2? 492 plus 5 should give you 497. It's that simple, and if you continue to practice left to right, adding to that base number, it'll start to make sense to your brain, and it will be easier to remember the numbers as you're going through it, just by repeating it over and over again as you add to that base number. Now, what happens if you have to carry? Let's try three-digit numbers with a little bit of a carry just to see how you do. And remember, you don't really carry. You just keep adding to that base. So let's try 147 plus 124. Starting from the left, obviously, this is 100, this is 100. What's 100 plus 100? You'll get 200. Then you go to the tens. This 4 right here stands for 40. So what's 200 plus 40? 240. Add 20 more and you'll get 260. Then we go to the ones. What's 260 plus 7? You'll get 267. And then we've got to add 4 more. What's 267 plus 4? The answer is 271. See again how you don't even carry. You just keep adding to that base number. And I have to keep reminding you, always say the whole base number. Don't just say the tens or the hundreds alone. Say the whole thing every time. Let's try another one. What's 256 plus 125? Starting on the left, 200 plus 100. How much is that? 300. Up to the 50, what's 300 plus 50? 350. Add 20 more. 370. And then we go to the ones. What's 370 plus 6? 376. And now we add 5 more. What's 376 plus 5? You should get 381. All right? And now I just want to try one more example, a little bit harder. 249 plus 132. Left to right, starting with the hundreds, keeping a running total, saying the whole number every time. 200 plus 100 will give you 300. And then we go to the tens. That's a 40, right? So what's 300 plus 40? 340. Add 30 more. What do you get? 340 plus 30. You should get 370. And then we go to the next column. What's 370 plus 9? 379. And then add 2 more. What's 379 plus 2? The answer is 381. Hopefully by now you're starting to see how it works, where you just keep that running total, keep that base number, and just keep adding to it. And as we get into bigger numbers, you'll see how much more effective this is because you don't carry no matter how large the numbers get. So what I want to do now, before you go into the workbook to complete this part of the program, I want to give you one more example with a column of 3-digit numbers. I just want you to give it a try. And you'll still see there's no carrying. It all just has to do with keeping that base number going. Let's try my favorite example, 123, 216, 121, and 214. I always use this example because it's easy to learn how to carry with a column of numbers. Instead of starting over here, now because I want you to realize something too. If you start over here, now that you've been doing it left to right, watch what happens when you go right to left. 3 and 6 is 9, 10, 14. Write down a 4, carry a 1. And then you add up 3, 4, 6, 7. And then you add up 1, 3, 4. You have no idea what the answer is going to be until the very end. Notice how easy it is when you're left to right. You knew right away this is 600, 600 something. It's going to be maybe 600 or 700. But right away you had a good estimation of the answer. That's one of the keys of adding left to right. So let's try this. This is the hundreds column. That's a 100. This is a 200. Get your running total base number going. What's 100 and 200? 300. Add another 100 and you'll get 400. 200 more will give you 600. Now we go up to the tens column. That's a 20 right there. That's a 10, that's a 20, that's a 10. Right? So what's 600 plus 20? 620. Add 10 more. You should get 630. How about 20 more? You should have 650. And then 10 more will give you a total of 660 so far. Now you've got 660 and you go up to the ones. Now go slow through this. 660 plus 3 is how much? 663. Add 6 more. You should get 669. All right? And now we've got to add one more. What's 669 plus 1? 670. And then 4 more. 670 plus 4 will give you 674. That's the answer to 123 plus 216 plus 121 plus 214. And remember, you never carried. Just give this a little bit of practice. Go back into your workbook. Go through all the examples. Make sure you get them all right, and make sure you understand how you're carrying the numbers without carrying. You're just adding to that base number. And practice remembering that base number. That's the hardest part, but it's really easy once you get into it.